Okay, welcome Betty, welcome James, Scott, Chris, and like two others who have said they will be here, but I want to respect your time, and I know Chris, you have a hard stop in about 28 minutes, so we'll continue forward with that. So, want to thank each of you for your diligence and your attention, your comments and feedback, through the course of this, and I hope to connect with each of you afterwards for all of those things. Again, what the value was, what any feedback you might have, and how we'd like to proceed going forward. So let's turn this week into your breakthrough year. This is a wrap up of the first 4 days and also some summary stuff that I did not cover, which I found to be extremely beneficial in terms of managing between your ears during job search. And this has gone, if I wish I knew all this stuff when I was in job search many times, especially when there was an extended period of unemployment, which I've had a couple times. So to review, day one was all about what's your purpose, what's going to fulfill you, and then be better for you in the marketplace, doing things you love, you're good at, you can be paid for, and the world needs. And everyone wins when you hit this bullseye. My mantra is that God put us all here for a variety of reasons, and career is one of the most important. So it's up to us to define and manifest those reasons in the best way we can. And that's been the whole purpose of this week. And it's been the purpose for the reason why I've been working with as many clients as I have over the last 11 years. Not to get morbid, but what will your epitaph say? This is the thing where you look at your hospice bed back to today and say, what do you want to accomplish, not just in your career, but in every part of your life? And I won't read every part of this because we covered it on day one, but it's still really important to look in the mirror and say, is this the time to make some major changes in what I've been doing and why? Then on day two, we talked about outreach and networking. We talked about how to create a resume that is going to be valuable and your value proposition is going to be something that's meaningful to all of these people. And let's see, Irina is just coming in as well. And we started with 10 to 25 people who could help with your search, and we went through the whole process of how do you connect with them, and then what do you say when you've reached out to them. I'd really like your advice on some of the career options I'm considering. It's a short version of what that is all about. Then we talked about interviewing and negotiate. These are the 5 key questions. There's actually 6 on here. This what type of position for and you're looking for and why, which is when you're not sure what the organization may have. These answers are going to be critical to your success at every phase of the job search because they can be a real elevator pitch answer when you're speaking with somebody who might be a gatekeeper at the organization, and they can certainly be critical when you're in front of a hiring manager or one of your potential colleagues in a new position. Follow-up, incredibly important. When I found this, I did some research to say, is this really true? And it is. Notice that only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts, but only 2%, 3%, 5%, 10% are actually made by the 3rd contact. 80% are made from the 5th to the 12th. So you following up with people related to any interview you had, any interest you might have in an organization, all of this is totally on point. That's part of what the process involves. And I broke it down into how do we get to first base, second base, third base, and now tonight we're sliding into home with the dream job or dream career that is perfect for you, because we've covered value proposition, outreach, networking, interviewing, negotiating, and now we're going to do some things that are going to get you from third to home. I'm going to break kind of the flow of what I've been talking about before and just step outside of job search and talk about trials and tribulations, about resilience, and about bouncing back. Don't know how many of you remember what happened on September 11th, 2001. I remember exactly where I was when I saw the plane fly into the 2nd building. I was out on the West Coast working for Del Monte Foods, commuting 5 days a week away from my family because there wasn't anything going on in New Jersey at that time. I'd gotten laid off from a position a few months before. And I'd been commuting for almost a year and a half. And this made me realize I couldn't do that anymore. Life was more important. Also, more recently, April 15th in 2013, when the Boston Marathon finish line area was bombed. My sister used to hang out with a bunch of her nursing school friends. She went to Simmons College in Boston. And she used to hang out 50 yards from where that bomb went off, but she wasn't there that year. All these things that happen are way worse than most of what's going on in any of our lives. Oops. Hold on. What did I do here? I didn't mean to pause the share of the screen. Can you still see my screen? I guess you can. All right. That's fine.
Yes.
All right. Sometimes bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. What you're going to see here for the next 20 or so slides are things that I pulled off the internet in the last 10 years that are completely appropriate for mindset and attitude during job search. Two types of pain in this world: pain that hurts and pain that changes. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish the two when they're happening, but the pain that changes you is the one that really turns into a breakthrough as opposed to something that's a debilitating event. The famous philosopher Oprah Winfrey: I trust that everything happens for a reason, even if we are not wise enough to see it.
Well, there's no screen.
Okay,
It's still on Trials and Tribulations.
okay, hold on a minute. I'm going to share it again. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. You should see, I trust everything that happens for a reason, even if we're not wise enough to see it. Is that what's showing up?
Yes.
Okay. I found this survey back in 2016, and my youngest sister works as a nurse anesthetist, and she's the one that puts the mask on you or gives you the shot before you have an operation of any kind or surgery or any other kind of procedure. And she sees this kind of stuff on a regular basis where somebody doesn't make it through a surgery or some other medical procedure, et cetera. So a hospice nurse reveals patients' greatest regrets before they passed on. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I didn't work so hard. Working hard is fine, but so hard may be something that gets in the way of what you're really here to do. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings in any number of situations. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, and I'd wish that I had let myself be happier. These are the 5 most common things that people say when they're in their hospice beds. And every one of us on this call has a chance to change any of these or any of our career-related activities, any of our life activities between now and when we get into hospice. Resilience: it's not what happens to you that matters, it's how you respond that makes the difference. And Zig Ziglar was one of the greatest motivational speakers. He was an outstanding salesman. He had a tremendous record of sales in a variety of companies, and then he became a motivational speaker. He was excellent. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. For those of you who follow sports or football, and which I do, I found this story to be particularly appropriate for this evening. Andy Reid is a guy that used to coach the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he was with them from the late 90s until 2012. He took them to the Super Bowl against the Patriots in 2005. At the start of the season, his son, who was a strength coach on the team, committed suicide. The team was 4-12 that year, and they fired him. That would be known as a bad sequence of events in anybody's life: tragedy and then job loss. People told him, hey, Andy, take a break, go sit on an island, get yourself back together. And he said, you know what? One of the things I love about coaching football is the difference I make in the lives of young men. And I want to do it again. Sure enough, several weeks later, the Kansas City Chiefs hired him, and they had been at the bottom of their division, and they had lost 10 to 15 games for the previous 8 or 9 years. They started out the 2013 season 9-0 and made the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. Eventually, they became Super Bowl champions in 2020, 2023, and 2024. Scott, you know about this from Patrick Mahomes, who was an alum of your school. So a guy could have, anybody could buckle under a situation like that, losing a son tragically and then getting fired. He did not. And he's a great example. He's a terrific guy. You see him on commercials and stuff like that now. But the real story of him is his level of resilience. An entire sea of water can't sink a ship unless it gets inside the ship. Similarly, the negativity of the world can't put you down unless you allow it to get inside you. And the negativity of the world can oftentimes not just be what's on the television set with the nightly news. It can be people around you who either don't believe in you or don't recognize your abilities or think, you can't do that, whatever it might mean. That negativity is something you have to put a force field up around yourself. And sometimes the negativity is between your ears. And it's conditioned in some cases the things you bring upon yourself. Either way, any client that I work with, we spend a significant amount of time making sure that the positivity associated with the value you can add to a future organization is what you're front and center remembering about you as a candidate, as opposed to anything that may have gone wrong in the past, because you can't do anything about that anyway. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. If the door doesn't open, it's not your door. I've been in several situations where I thought I had a slam dunk on a job, looked like it was going to be mine, and it just didn't come through. In one case, there was a company that lost the funding that they needed in order for my position to be there. Another case, somebody else got the job that I didn't expect. Either way, it wasn't meant to be. And that's the way it's easy to intellectually say it. It's hard to emotionally believe it, that if it doesn't open, it's not your door and that there's a better pathway down the road. Carney Wilson, I have willpower and determination. I am very resilient, like rock. I think she meant to say like a rock, but that's what she said. And that's what I found again on the internet. Determination and perseverance move the world. Thinking that others will do it for you is a sure way to fail. This is a copy of the rejection letter that was sent by Professor Wilhelm Heinrich to who eventually became Dr. Albert Einstein. Your application for the doctorate has not been successful at this time, and as such, you are not eligible for the position of associate professor. While you posed an interesting theory in your article published in Annalen der Physik, we feel that your conclusions about the nature of light and the fundamental connection between space and time are somewhat radical. Overall, we find your assumptions to be more artistic than actual physics. How do you think this guy felt about 30 years later? If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you, but if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. Vince Lombardi, Super Bowl champ, Green Bay Packers, Washington Redskins, great football coach. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, Matthew 17:20, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. The key part of this to me is nothing will be impossible for you if you believe. Robert Kiyosaki, very popular financial guru, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, several other books along those lines. The size of your success is measured by the strength of your desire, the size of your dream, and how you handle disappointment along the way. I want you to take a look at what's in green and read it. What are you reading? I'm going to give it a couple seconds and then I'm going to turn to the next slide. Did you read Life is Nowhere or Life is Now Here?
Life is now here.
Okay. The interpretation of simple things like this often indicates how your mind is reacting to events going on around you and to your own positivity and sense of success. Life is all about how we look at it. This is one of the most amazing quotes I've ever seen considering the source. Helen Keller. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. This is a woman who is blind and deaf who said this. Famous failures. It's going to be hard to read all of the small copy on here, but Albert Einstein couldn't speak until he was almost 4 years old. Michael Jordan cut from his junior varsity basketball team as a sophomore. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Steve Jobs was fired from the company that he started at 30 years old. Oprah Winfrey was demoted from her job as a news anchor. I believe she was in Baltimore because she, quote unquote, wasn't fit for television. And the Beatles were rejected because we don't like their sound. They have no future in show business. If you've never failed, you've never tried anything new, I think is the mantra there. And there are hundreds of others that fall into this category. These happen to be 6 of the more famous. Zig Ziglar again, fear has 2 meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. If you've ever been down to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where the Wright brothers flew their first plane back in 1903, remember that when everything seems to be going against you, planes take off against the wind, not with it. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength that you need for tomorrow. Hold on one second. Somebody else has been trying to get it. Okay. All right. When someone tells you that you can't, don't believe it. It's a reflection of their limitations, not yours.
I love you too. All right, bye.
Is that you, Irina? Or I think so.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good that you love somebody else. That always matters. Anyway, oops, I skipped on that. Joel Osteen, you can't live a positive life thinking negative thoughts, so dwell on the positive. Beautiful things happen when you distance yourself from the negative. Another excerpt from The Secret: you're a magnet. When you become a magnet of wealth, you attract wealth. A magnet of health, you attract health. When you become a magnet of love, you attract love, and the similar things for joy and whatever it is you want. Magnet comes first, manifestation second. Manifestation is the effect of the magnet in you. We saw this slide the other night from ancient Roman philosopher Cicero. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. And another version of The Secret: gratitude is a powerful process for shifting your energy and bringing more of what you want into your life. Be grateful for what you already have. And we went through a whole exercise on that on day 1, actually. Be grateful for what you already have, and you will attract more good things. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find. Anybody can fill in the blank. Not all at once.
Knock and it would be open.
That is exactly it. Matthew 7:7. It's out there. You need to knock on enough doors. Focus more on the people who inspire you than on the people who annoy you, but you'll get much further in life. And then one of my comments on the side of this here is lose others' baggage and your own. That is the one way to make sure that you make your future better than any part of your past. The best day of your life is the one in which you decide your life is your own. No apologies or excuses, no one to lean on, rely on, or blame. The gift is yours. It's an amazing journey, and you alone are responsible for the quality of it. This is the day your life really begins. A good life is when you smile often, dream big, laugh a lot, and realize how blessed you are for what you already have. Winston Churchill, in the middle of World War II, when it looked like the Germans were going to win the battle across the English Channel, came up with this: success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. For those of you who are Wizard of Oz fans, dreams that you dare to come true really do, and every storm in your life is followed by a rainbow. Hopefully we'll see one here tonight. Keep going. Each step may be harder, but don't stop. The view at the top is beautiful. For those of you who may or may not have seen this, it is well worth watching, and not just because it's a former basketball coach. This is a guy who had cancer running through every bone in his body, and he was given the Man of the Year award by ESPN. And he got up and he made one of the most classic 9-minute speeches you're ever going to see. And then he says here, to me, there are 3 things we all should do every day. We should do this every day of our lives. Number 1 is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number 2 is think. You should spend some time in thought. And number 3 is you should have your emotions move to tears. Could be happiness, could be joy. But if you think about it, you laugh, you think, and you cry. That's a full day. That's a heck of a day. You do that 7 days a week, and you're going to have something special. Again, you can screenshot this or you can pull it up, just Jim Valvano acceptance speech. And then the donkey story. And Chris, will get to the end of this more than in time for when you need to leave. There was an old donkey who escaped from the barn that the old farmer had left open by mistake. And the donkey wandered around the property and fell into an abandoned well. The farmer heard the donkey and went over to it and said, "Wow, there is no way that I'm getting this animal out of here." He went and got a couple of friends. They looked at each other and said, "It's an old donkey. Let's just bury it." So they started digging dirt around the well and throwing it into the well on top of the donkey. For a long time, the donkey was silent, but then after quite a while, what do you think happened?
He started like walking on the dirt,
And
getting himself out of the well.
he got out of the well. So the moral of the story is this: is it the donkey that, what was the problem, or what is the moral of the story? The problem, obviously, the donkey fell into the well. Was it the donkey who didn't see that the well was a hole and fell in? Was it the farmer and his neighbors that cruelly decided that they wanted to kill him? Or was there some other moral of it? I think there is. And it goes like this: if a can do it, so can you. Okay. And here we are again, where we were the last couple of nights, about taking a screenshot of this and setting up a Calendly time that we can speak. I would really love your feedback as to what you felt could be improved, or what you liked about what you saw in the last 4.5 days. And then we can talk about what your career goals are, and whether or not working with me would be part of getting you there. I've done it with 600 plus clients, and everybody on here I know at one level or another, and I'm confident that I can do the same with you as well. And last night I talked about a couple of different proposals, but I want to get a little tighter on that here tonight. Normally, a recent college graduate, the range of this is at $1,495, call it $1,500 for a recent graduate, and $9,800 for a senior level executive. But today and until Wednesday of next week, I am making it so that it's $1,200 for a recent college graduate. And there's a sliding scale, and I'd have to talk to each of you about what that number would be, but it would be below the halfway point based on where each of you are. If you're a senior level executive, it'd be $7,500 in full. Or you could make 4 installments of $350, which would be $1,400, or 4 installments of $2,650, which would get you up over that 97 number. But either way, I'll work with you in terms of what that means, both within your budget, within your goals, within your anticipated income level, which is really what this is based on as much as anything else. The other thing is, hold on a second. Yeah, if for some reason you don't want to work with me through the full program, and I honestly don't recommend this, but I'm happy to do it. If you feel that doing your resume and your LinkedIn profile will get you far enough around the track that you can make the rest of the way on your own, I'm more than happy to do this. And this is a very competitive market rate for what I do. The key about number one is that I'm working with you until you land, no matter how long that takes. And that means navigating with you through all the ups and downs, the detours, the speed bumps, the areas when you say, wow, I want to give up, et cetera, et cetera. And those are the things where we will rechart the course and make sure that we get you to your destination quickly and efficiently. And for those of you who haven't connected with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can certainly do that. I'm opening up a Facebook group starting next week, and there'll be information about career growth in there for, it'll be posted for those who want to be part of the group. And let's see if there's anything else that I have here tonight. Comments, thoughts, reactions, questions, emotions, anybody?
I want to just say thank you for your time. Definitely refreshing to hear some of these things across the board, whether it be anyone else's comments, thoughts, or reactions, and some of the slides that you just showed. It's definitely refreshing to hear some of that. So thank you.
Sure. And Chris, we'll talk either over the weekend or early next week, and follow up from last week as well. So thanks for your thoughts and comments.
Sure. And if anyone you guys have my name, if you want to connect on LinkedIn, please reach out.
And that's something else I'll be doing over the summer. I don't know exactly when yet, is having group meetings once a week at a convenient time, probably like on a Wednesday night or something. Maybe it might be Monday night because I have to work out some other things. But like a Monday night where everybody can share their week and get off to a good start in terms of whatever else they might be doing. Time zones make that difficult, but I'll do the best I can to work that out. And people who are at different stages of job search as well. Anybody else?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, and I won't repeat it as many times as you said it, but thanks, Betty.
I also, like Chris, I thought this was super valuable. I know I've sat in on a couple of your other presentations prior,
Yeah.
but it was nice, again, like Chris said, to kind of get those refreshers and a little bit extra information compared to the previous times that I've attended your stuff.
Yeah, and I had more time to add
Mhm.
some additional stuff as well. So,
Yeah, it was nice going in depth for everything that you'd gone over previously.
yeah. And although I did go in depth with this, there's several layers underneath all of this at different
Right.
stages of the process. But the goal again is to navigate through it as quickly and efficiently as possible with the outcome of finding the job that you really want at a compensation level you deserve. That is my top of the line goal, is to get you to score the run, and actually score two of them so that you have some negotiating ability and some comparisons that you can do. If you have two offers that come relatively simultaneously, that is like holy grail. Irina, James?
I'm thinking that I definitely need to talk to you because I'm trying to reinvent myself, and I'm a little bit outside of the norm here, with getting a position with another company. I'm trying to build something of my own. So I'm thinking, perhaps we'll have a conversation, and you'll have to tell me what your fees are for that
Mm-hmm.
in the future. But this was excellent. It's just basically it, I just was not believing a lot of the things that is out there where, it's takes, LinkedIn said that it takes 4 years to get a job if you're just applying online, and you basically just reiterated the same thing, 1%.
Right.
So
Right.
it was very good.
Okay, great. We can certainly, again, you can either set up the Calendly link or just send me a text and we'll set a time. And that applies to any of you. I mean, I'm using the Calendly link because I'm trying to get a little more disciplined about how I manage my calendar. But either way, I'm around all weekend. So if you want to either text me, the Calendly will not include the weekend. So if there's a time that you want to, have a follow-up conversation, I'm certainly open to that.
Thank you so much for your help.
Sure. James, your thoughts, comments?
I've just learned so much working with you, just about how to like change my resume properly and the wording. And ChatGPT is a tool, but it still needs that human like proofread ability to make it sound human.
Right.
So it just, feel like my job search has been long, but like I'm still confident and like staying positive. Some of you just taught me, so I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. And that is what I have for the week. Chris, I know you had to run because you have another engagement, but great seeing you. In fact, you already checked out, but that's okay. We will talk. So I look forward to a follow-up conversation with each of you individually, and however I can support you in terms of your career goals as they relate to your life goals, and maybe vice versa. Happy to do that. And any other thoughts or questions? Otherwise, I will call it an earlier evening than I did the last 4 nights.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks all of you. Okay. Have a
Thanks
good
for our
night.
time, Bill.
Bye-bye. Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a nice one.